Dying inside of an Arby's walk-in freezer. Well, that's what happened to this Arby's manager in Texas. And apparently they were working at another store location. They went into the walk-in freezer and it shut behind them and they couldn't get out. And they weren't discovered till much later, dead. This happened in Texas. The family filed a lawsuit, and in Texas, Arby's is trying to move it into an arbitration. In California, this would most likely be a workers' comp case unless there were certain exceptions applied. But why would Arby's be trying to move it to an arbitration? Well, an arbitration is usually a private hearing. It's not heard by a jury. It's outside the presence of a public courthouse. So evidence that can come out would not be available to the public. And also, you don't get a jury with an arbitration. Instead, you get a single retired judge, or it could be like a panel of 3 judges or retired attorneys. And oftentimes these arbitrators, they want to work with the same law firms or same businesses over and over again because they get paid to be the arbitrator. And the money comes from these businesses. Arby's has a lot of arbitrations related to employment cases. That arbitrator is going to be worried about awarding a large judgment or arbitration award against Arby's, because that could mean that they're not going to get a job in the future. So you can see how there's a major conflict of interest with arbitrators, particularly with businesses or bigger entities, because those entities are going to be showing up over and over again, and those arbitrators aren't going to want to punish them for any sort of wrongdoing. Another important distinction here is that in this case, apparently, it was known that the freezer door wasn't working. And in fact, there was some evidence like a screwdriver and other things that were used to prop the freezer door open. There may be a separate case against the freezer door manufacturer. Other things that were important in this case was it looked like the freezer door alarm had been deactivated. That could even mean maybe punitive damages, because if you intentionally disable something like an alarm, then it's very foreseeable that exactly what happened here is going to happen. Maybe they should be not just awarded regular damages, but punitive damages to punish the business or whoever did that, because that's exactly what these alarms are designed to prevent, is someone dying in the freezer. This case happened in Texas. I mostly practice in California doing personal injury, so one of the first things I'd be looking at is why this freezer door was not working and if there's a product liability case. So what are some ways that you would get out of arbitration? Well, first of all, in order for there to be arbitration, there has to be an arbitration agreement that you signed. Maybe she signed it as part of the employment with Arby's, but oftentimes, these are provided to you in a big packet of paper. No one's reading it. You don't really extend it. Maybe you don't even sign it. So one of the first things I look for is, how was the arbitration presented? What does the arbitration agreement look like? Is it wedged in with a bunch of other papers? Is the arbitration agreement even signed? How long ago was it signed? What are the terms of the arbitration agreement? Because if the terms are what's called unconscionable, like so ridiculously unfavorable to the employee, then maybe that could be used to have the arbitration agreement thrown out. Then you're back to getting a jury trial, which is often beneficial to the plaintiff.